I'm Estelle Thomson, your mistress of radiance, and this is Walk With Me in Butterfly Alley, a Chic West podcast revival. This is a 10-minute audio series about living a meaningful, sparkly life. One walk, one idea, one story. In each 10 minutes mini episode, I'll share with you what I've been thinking about, what life is teaching me, and maybe a question for your own reflection. So grab a coffee, lace up your shoes, or simply settle in. Let's take a walk together, unfiltered. Welcome to Butterfly Alley. Hold up! Before we begin, I'd love to invite you to my Lead with the Heart Summer Retreat for Women happening July 10th to 12th at the August House in Windsor, Nova Scotia. 3 days of movement, creativity, connection, rest, nourishing food, so yummy, nature, and a whole lot of heart. As a listener of Chic West Podcast and the Walk With Me in Butterfly Alley series, you can save $100 with the coupon code LWTH0726. That's big L, big W, big T, big H 0726. I don't know who makes up my discount code, but this is very complicated. But I'll repeat it one more time. LWTH 0726. You'll find all the details at EstelleThompsonRetreats.com. Now let's get back to our walk. Yesterday, I was teaching my Radiance yoga class, and I'm teaching about full bloom this month from the Guide to a Magic Life Planner and the Wheel of the Year Oracle, the full bloom summer solstice. And I just said, we're entering the brightest of bright. And a light came on, and I was like, ooh, I love that. And I know why I like it, because in winter solstice, I call this portal the darkest of dark portal. So I was like, oh my God, of course, now it's the brightest of bright. So we're mid-June, and we're navigating our way towards the summer solstice. Summer solstice, longest day of the year, half point of the year when it comes to the Wheel of the Year Oracle. So we're midway in between the next winter solstice. And, it is a portal in itself. It's a portal of expansion and of blossoming. And if you have a word of the year, this is a time when we are not in the seed and the cocooning of the winter solstice right now. We're in the bloom. We're in the young blooms of our word of the year. And do you have something to show for with your word of the year? This is the time of year to make your word visible. And by visibility, I don't mean like be loud and get attention. And no, by being seen, I mean like, and this is a joke I have my students, but like, does your word of the year have receipts? Like, can you gather receipts? Have you made enough connection with your word of the year that there's something to be shown? So, for example, my dancers at Radiance Dance, they danced their word of the year, which is like, it's like a spectacular way to show for, to express your word of the year. How do you walk with your word of the year? For example, my word this year is Princess of Power. And a big part of that journey has been to really own in and challenge myself with my swimming practice. And I'm swimming the 5K, woohoo, at the end of August. But like, this is what I have to show for. Like, I'm showing up for myself every Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Master Swim Club at 6 a.m. And I'm, committed to doing one open water swim practice weekend. And oh my God, I did it last weekend. And I was borderline terrified. The water is so cold. We have a lake it's a pond next to my house. It's called Car Wash Lake. And I was like, well, I should probably start doing my open water swim training in there. So I get a wetsuit, and I had already gone to a trial open water swim on the Saturday to the place that I will actually do the actual 5K. It's called Camp Brigadoon, and it's also linked to a fundraising. Actually, I'm fundraising money for Camp Brigadoon, the Gift to Live Foundation, and I went to visit the place. What an incredible! I had no idea. Like, this is so Estelle, by the way. Like, I'll just sign up for this. You have to raise $1,000, no problem. And not even knowing what is it I'm fundraising for. I had no clue. Everybody. So I showed up, and I'm borderline in tears because there's like a mini hospital inside that camp. They like describe all the different camps that happen week by week. So for example, one week is like the celiac kids, another week is kids with like kidney issues, food allergies, food sensitivity. It's a large organization, and the resources available are just out of this world. It's been, in 2020, they had like a major renovation. So all the buildings are new. Anyways, no idea. Show up there. And there was a group of 8 of us and did our first open water swim, which I knew was going to be different than at the pool. Obviously, you have no walls to push on. And it's one of those things when you swim, open water swim, is you can't see where you're going. That is something else. So you're always lifting up your head to see if you're not swimming away or not swimming back even, like, so. But I always do better when there's like other people, so that went great. But then I had committed myself to go every Sunday to do my own training. So I had gone on the Saturday, so now I went back on the Sunday. And so I put on my wetsuit and I go, and I'm by myself. I kind of wanted to ask Scott, but he was busy with something else. I think they were getting their haircuts or something. So I was like, fine, I'll just go by myself. And it's a pond. Seriously, I drive by it every day and it looks so small. But I'm telling you, guys, when you're in the pond, it's not small. It's really big. And so I went by myself and I did it, and it was in the middle of the lake, and I was like, holy shit, I feel, if this isn't Princess of Power, I don't know what it is. And I was like, am I a freaking like outdoors woman now? Like, what the fuck? Like, also borderline, like, is this my identity now? Like, oh my God, like, I'm a swimmer. Not just I'm a swimmer, but I'm an outdoors swimmer. So this is what I mean by like, the brightest of bright portal. Like, this right now, it's like, how can you expand to the growth edge of your word of the year? It wasn't comfortable for me to go in that pond by myself, being with the ducks and the geese, and there was a little sideway fisherman too, and not being able to, touch the floor, not even knowing where I'm going. But I said, I'm just going to be in there for 30 minutes. That was my goal. I did my goal and I came back, and that was completely Princess of Power of me to do that. And perhaps I am an outdoors woman now. But, when we are a resource in our word of the year, our word of the year does push us. Like, it does make us do things that are not, quote unquote, like part of our identity or what we self-recognize ourselves with. So when we do a word of the year and it's working, it has to be borderline terrifying. And there's no way around it. That's the only way that we grow. That is the only way that we grow. We need tension, okay? We need friction. We need to be like, oh, what's happening? What's going on? We need novelty. Your word is not working if all of this is not happening. Okay, maybe it's happening a tiny little on like a subconscious level. But if you're telling me that, you know, you have a banner or maybe you have a planner and or you can't even remember your word of the year, which sometimes you all tell me that you can't remember your word of the year. Like it's not working to its fullest. So during this portal right now, leading up to summer solstice and all through summer, really, it's when your word of the year explodes, right? And if you're at Guide to a Magic Life, we're really owning in also on the shadow of the word of the year, which is interesting because we're navigating and connecting with the shadow of the word of the year during the brightest time of the year, the most illuminated time of the year. And so kind of like the full moon, right? Like looking at things that we've repressed, maybe we don't, because that's where the test lies, in the shadow of your word of the year. And it's easy to find the shadow. Maybe you just look at the opposite. Sometimes it's not always the opposite, but that's really the test of your word of the year. Anyways, I'm also super obsessed with the lupines right now. Lupines. But they're out in Nova Scotia for about 3 weeks. And what an incredible reflection of this Brightest of Bright portal, this visibility, and like the urgency and the cycle of them is so quick, right? The lupines, I love them so much. All bright and purple and pinks and white sometimes. Um, the lupines have a lot to teach us. And they have their own cycles and and they come back every year. That's a brave thing to do. So, welcome to the Brightest of Bright. Happy solstice, happy summer. And I can't wait to see you again and talk to you in my butterfly alley. Love you. Bye.